Let's talk to Noah in Canada. Noah, you're live with Eric and Owen. What would you like to talk about?
Hi.
Hi.
I think there was a mix-up. First of all, my name's not Noah, it's Douglas. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'd like to ask you a question. What if you're atheist? What do you think created the world?
Well, I can take this if you don't mind, Eric.
We can take turns, buddy. You go first.
Okay. I feel that the term "I don't know" is underrated. I think that we should get real comfortable with that. I think we have a real clear idea of what happened. But even if we didn't, that's irrelevant. I don't know is an acceptable answer to this question, even if there wasn't, or even if there was an explanation. What do you think, Eric?
I absolutely agree, and I would just want to build upon that. And that is, so, Douglas, do you think atheists have, like, what do you think an atheist is, first off?
Someone who rejects the proposition that God exists.
Okay, perfect. What does that have to say about the instantiation of the universe or the world?
That means that if there is no thinking agent that created this world or supervising it, there's really no point to anything. Like, for instance, what is the point?
Whoa, hold on. Whoa. Okay. Hold on. We're branching off into a whole bunch of different things, and all of those things I would love to talk about, but we got to pick one. So let's stick with the who created the universe, because is there purpose is a wonderful conversation, but it is a long one to have, and you're welcome to call back for that one. So rejecting the God claim, right? That's what an atheist is. You nailed that perfectly. So the God claim, right? The claim that you're making is that your God poofed everything into existence, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Can I poof anything into existence?
No.
Can you poof anything into existence?
I cannot, no.
No. Okay. So you're saying that there's a being that you can't see, smell, taste, touch, or know, that poofed everything into existence. You can't prove it, but we got to believe you. And for some reason, we need to believe that more than saying, I don't know. I think you have a huge burden of proof there. You need to actually show us that, number one, that's possible. And then number two, that's the probable answer. But to say, what do you think created it, is shifting that burden, because it's trying to say, well, at least I have an answer. And saying at least I have an answer is not good enough, because I'd rather not know and be encouraged to explore than pretend to know and stop.
Can I ask you a question? If you did explore and you found that it was God, would you accept it?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Now,
if we wouldn't accept it as truth, but we wouldn't necessarily, I can't speak for Eric, but I wouldn't worship God, because, not the God of the Bible as described seems kind of monstrous to me, but that's, again, a separate conversation. I think we would accept anything if there was evidence for it, right?
And you got to follow that evidence. So let's turn that back around. We had a caller, his name was Antangelo, who is not allowed to call talk Heathen anymore, because he said that he could never, ever stop believing. And the only way to stop him from, the only way that he could be convinced otherwise is to bring him the bones of Christ. Everything else, he just assumed he was right on. And those weren't conversations worth having. The reason I bring it up is because let's turn that back on you. If you were to explore those supernatural God claims and find that there was a naturalistic explanation that better explained them, would you be willing to put down your God belief?
Yes.
Yes. That's fantastic. So, are you exploring it? What have you done to investigate it? Because that sounds like the most important question you'd ever want to ask or have the answer to.
Well, I've been studying different books and watching shows like this one.
Cheers. Good. So as far as if somebody says, well, what created the universe? Can you see how that's kind of a non sequitur? It doesn't really get us anywhere. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to know because
Yeah.
I don't know because when I want to I see the world and how complex it is. I wonder if there really is a thinking being behind this.
You know, we just need to make sure that we're not making assumptions when we don't have to. That's all.
Like I said originally, I don't know is a perfectly acceptable answer, right?
I've often said on the show that it is, I think, the most intellectually honest thing you can say because it is difficult to say I don't know.
Right.
Okay, well, at least we can agree on that.
I think that's a pretty good place to end off, man. Thank you for calling in. And dude, if you want to talk about morality, if you want to talk about ethics and all of that kind of all those other subjects, call in again. We'd love to have them. We just want to make sure that we don't get it, buckshot and are unable to answer any of them.
Actually, I'm going to take you up on an offer. Someday I will call you back and talk about that.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you for calling, Douglas.
Okay.